Welcome once again to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have this time is the Kanehiro Ginsan or Silver 3 Petty 150mm knife. So the way these are made is they're three-layer construction, so there's a soft stainless cladding on either side of the harder core steel, and that core steel is known as Ginsan or Ginsanko or Silver 3 or G3. So it's a fine-grained conventional stainless steel that's excellent for kitchen knives, and the heat treat's typically 61, 62 Rockwell. It sharpens up really well, takes a wicked edge, and has decent edge retention. So it's an awesome kitchen knife steel. The cladding is also stainless, so it's an all stainless blade. This cladding has what's known as a pear skin or nishiji type finish to it. And every knife's going to be a little different, so they always have some interesting texture on knives from this maker. So everyone's going to be unique. It's another one of the nice things about this line of knives. And then you can see there's the cladding and a good line of demarcation there where the core steel peeks out from the edge. So very nice looking knife. The weight and dimensions are going to vary just a bit from knife to knife. This particular one is 80 grams or 2.8 ounces. Edge length is about 146 on this sample, or 5 3/4 inches, and the overall length is about 275 millimeters. These can have a little bit of thickness coming out of the handle. Obviously, the smaller knives not quite so thick. This one has about 2.9 millimeters I measured on the thickness of this one, and then it thins out a little bit to about 2.5. It's fairly stout, actually, keeping going, and different knives could have different, examples, but the grind is pretty generous towards the tip. It starts right there where you can see that visual change, and then they do thin it out nice at the tip. It's a short knife from the tallness perspective, the width I should say, and so it's gonna get into that meat of the knife pretty quick from the edge, but it's ground thin at the edge as well. Blade height is about 30 millimeter on this one, so there's two different kind of styles of these knives, and they can vary in height too. So the shorter ones back here sometimes are a little bit more of a utility knife style, and then they have ones that are taller. Typically for 150 we're looking maybe 33, 34 millimeters. The geometry changes and it looks a little bit more like a mini gyuto and kind of can be used as such. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. It's not a bad idea to just, if you're interested in a taller one, say, hey Mark, do you have some ones that are a little taller, maybe 34, and you can see if he does, and if so, it'll be a different knife than this one. So these can vary a bit. The handle is octagonal, ambidextrous, and so it's got a maple main part and a black packawood, or almost brownish black packawood, or no, I'm sorry, walnut. Read the sheet, dummy. So it almost looks like black packawood, but no, it's not. So it's a walnut ferrule, very nice kind of warm colors to it. That's why I said brown. They've got a good glue-up joint here where the tang goes into the handle. Looks pretty clean and tight and glued up well. 65 millimeters or about 2.5 inches is what I got for the circumference right here, which is appropriate for this kind of blade. And then this maker does a curve from the choil into the neck. Great spot for a pinch grip if you want to put your fingers there, depending on how you want to use this. Balance point, as you might guess, is going to be a little further back, but surprisingly, it's not further back than that. I'm a little surprised by that. Normally, you'd expect it to be way back here, but it's not. So that's kind of nice. It gives you a little bit more neutral feel. Let's see, kanji is on the left side. So let's get our beauty shot here, see if we can catch some of that. There we go. That should work. If we look closely, looks to me like laser engraved kanji. They're getting better and better at these alternative methods from hand engraving, and so this is really nicely done. It has got a little bit of texture to it on your fingers, and it lends it's a nice look. And you can see the nishiji or pear skin mottled finish. Every knife's going to be different. Vertical finish marks on it, and there's your core steel. And then here's the left side. This has a more heavily mottled nishiji finish on it with some imperfections here, which is all cool. It gives you that kind of refined rustic character. Polish to the spine, a little bit of relief on the corners, nice polish and rounding to the choil into the neck and relief there. Very nice fit and finish. The blade is actually, this blade's a little bit thicker, so it's got a lot of stiffness to it, and probably a good 6 out of 10 on the edge out of the box, so nicely crafted edge. But again, this Silver 3 steel will take a wicked edge and get very, very sharp for you. It's got a good fine grain composition. Here's our profile. So just kind of a good overall profile. If you do have a knife that's a little bit shorter at the back and a little bit more utilitarian, or utility style, and you're having a little trouble with ground clearance or board clearance for your fingers, you can either, if it's a taller board like this one, just work off the edge of the board a bit and then put your hands out here. If it's a thinner board, then just run that out to the edge of your countertop and do the same thing. So food may fall off to the floor a little bit more often, but it is an option if you need some clearance and you like using it for board work. So depends on your personal preference. But very nicely crafted line of knives with some nice character to them and excellent performance, all stainless, neat package. So this is the Kanehiro Ginsan or Silver 3 Petty 150 millimeter knife.